Hi guys, it's Emily from Novelle Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my November wrap-up part 1. Now, because I'm back at work, this video is going to be filmed and put straight up. What I have decided going forward is that I'm going to put my videos up in the mornings now because it seems to me that it gets the most views, but I will still set my reminders, put my posts up at 4:30 because that's when I get time. But I'll be putting them up probably about 8ish in the morning UK time. But guys, if you think you want me to put it up later or earlier, can you let me know in the comments below? Because I'd really love your opinion. When's a good time for you guys to watch videos? Now I know I like watching them first thing in the morning. I like watching them when I'm having my breakfast. So at the moment I'm saying 8 o'clock because I don't want it to be too early. But do you guys want it to be earlier on the UK time? Do you want that something to be waking up to? Although waking up to my ugly mush, why on earth would you want that? I don't know. Anyway, so today's good. I don't know exactly what time this is going up because it'll be once I've uploaded it. We'll see how my Wi-Fi goes and see how quickly I can get it uploaded. But going forward, like I said, in general, I think they will be going up in the mornings because I just want to make you guys happy and I want to make sure that you guys get to see what, hopefully, good videos I get to watch. Just had a bit of a dent. I've lost like 8 subscribers in the last week. If I've done anything wrong, guys, you know, let me know. But hopefully it's just subscriber thingy-majiggy, what's it doing? But you know what? I love making my videos and I love this one. And if I keep rambling, this video is going to be super, super long. Let's get started. Shall I show you what I'm currently reading? I am starting off, the best book that I'm currently reading at the moment is Pet by Kawako and Maisie. It's a book that I'm borrowed from my lovely friend, my lovely sister Charlie. And you guys have all spoken about this. This was one that I couldn't wait for her to read tomorrow, and it's actually my best one that I'm currently reading. I only started it last night and I friggin' love it. I don't need to talk about it. You guys have all heard about it and you'll hear more about it in my wrap-up part 2. Love it already. Then I'm reading My Buddy Read with Kelly from Cozy Reader Kelly. I only started this yesterday and yes, it's hard-hitting, but the writing is brilliant and it's one I really want to read. It's historical fiction set in Japan from 1929 to post-war years. I won't say too much about it, but it is good, but it's very hard-hitting. Already I've had some big triggers that have already kicked off, but I do, again, the writing. My TBR jar choice was Winter in Madrid by CJ Sampson. The first 10 to 15 pages, I was thinking I'm going to DNF this. It's post-World War. It is set in the World War II in 1940 in the Spanish Civil War. But it's Madrid. Not 100% on it. Because I've got another wartime book that I'm reading at the moment as well on my ebook. This is not one that's jumping out at me. But I got to 100 pages last night and I'm going to keep plodding on with it. It was my TBR jar choice, but not one that I'm thoroughly enjoying. I know that I've been trying to get better at DNFing. Do I push forward on this? Does it get better? Please let me know in the comments below. I try not to DNF because I've got to over 100 pages in. You know what I'm like, I find it a waste of book. Another book I started yesterday, which was one I'm desperate for, The Life of Charlotte Bronte by Elizabeth Gaskell. I'm already loving this. It's friggin' brilliant. And I found out that Emily Bronte was Emily Jane Bronte. My name's Emily Jane. I love that. Spoke to Mum about my name. Loving it already. Any more interest on the Brontes? It suits me. Now let's get round to the books that I'm reading as well, that I've already read. 3 stars. I'm sorry, Charlie. I know Charlie picked this as my friend's choice, Charles Heathcote. It's all right. I can see where he sees the funny elements, but it didn't gel with me. There were some bits of it that I thought were really, really good. And some bits were helpful on my mental health. And there was a lot of lessons that I thought can be learned. But with mental health, but with non-fiction books, I find it hard to rate it. I've put 3 stars. It could be 3.5, 4 because there are some really good bits on it. But if you compare it to the rest of the books that I'm reading this month, that I've read this month, which has been, I've done amazing, it's not jumping out at me. So I'm going to put it in my unhaul. And if anyone wants to have it, let me know in the comments below. First come, first served. Now the next one is 3/3.5. I really cannot decide. That's The Keeper of Lost Things, which I've already read with the lovely Chloe from Chloe Reads Books. Now, the start of it, didn't like it. I thought it was very boring. Is it going to plod on? Is something exciting going to happen? And then it got a bit better. There are some supernaturally kind of ghosty bits in this. It says like magical realism, but I think it's more sort of, I would go more supernatural, more sort of ghost. And there is a lovely character in this, Sunshine, and I won't tell you, but she has got a disability that they announce. Disability or what I don't want to describe, but she's got her own special needs, and that is not, you're not labelled with it straight away, but when it does, it really impresses you. And the way they describe Sunshine is brilliant. She's my favourite character in this book, and I absolutely love her. So this is The Keeper of Lost Things. Anthony Perdue spent his life collecting lost objects, trying to atone for a broken promise many years ago. Realising he's running out of time, he leaves his home and all its contents to his assistant Laura, the one person he can trust to reunite the objects with the rightful owners. There is another storyline going on this that's set in the past. The two storylines to me don't gel till right at the very end, and I think it didn't make sense for a lot of it. When it does make sense, it's good. And I think the reason why I did give it 3.5 stars is because the ending made a lot of sense. It tied everything together really well, and it was good. Laura is a lovely character. I really like her. Very sweet. You can predict there is a romance in this. You can predict who she's going to end up with, and that bit's kind of meh. But I love Sunshine's character, and I think she is what brings this book alive. I'm glad I read it, but it's not one. It's one that's going to be given away. Now the next book is my Emily's Quest, which I was buddy reading with Krista, but we only barely spoke about it because last week was a bit of a hard week. I'm just, like I said, I'm just back at work, so I'm busy with work. My knee started flaring up a little bit, so I didn't really have a chance to really converse with her. Sorry, Krista. I'm sorry. I'm the worst at buddy reading. This is 4 stars. To me, it wasn't quite as good as Emily of New Moon, but I did enjoy it. This is Emily's next journey, and I've got a funny feeling the last is going to be great because this ends on such an amazing way that I'm desperate for the next book. So as to whether I read it in December or January, I don't know yet because my December TBR is massive. But this is about Emily, and this is following on to the next one. All her friends have gone away. They're going on to have different lives, and she stayed in New Moon. And it's really interesting to find out her journeys, how she is. She doesn't stand, she kind of loses her fight in the middle of it, which I struggle with. I don't want to tell you too much, but she loses a bit of her feist, and I found that quite hard. But I did like it. It only got 4 stars this time, whereas last time Emily of New Moon got 5. But I'm still keeping it. That's keepy. The next one that's 4 stars, actually another 4-star one, which is my audiobook, which was The Queen, Her Lover and the Notorious Spy by Roland Perry. That was my audiobook, which I listened to on my library audiobook, and that was good. It's good. It was a kind of average, kind of good. A bit more historical non-fiction. So I've read 2 I'll show you the next non-fiction books. I've read 2 non-fiction books on Queen Victoria, 1 audio, that, and both were good. But to me, the other one, the physical one that I'm going to show you is better. But it was good. Then I also read on my ebook, Stories of Hope by Heather Morris. Now that was really good. It's a 4-star, but it's a top 4-star because it's non-fiction. You find out more about the tattooist of Auschwitz and his character, the gentleman. You find out about more people in Auschwitz. You find out more about Heather Morris and her own journey, and how you talk to people. You have lessons in it. It's really, really interesting, and I loved it. And it's one I'm so glad I got an ebook from the library that quickly because it's now got a very long list, and it's one I thoroughly recommend. The next one is Wakenhurst. Tom and Gemma both raved about this book, so I picked it up. It's the start of it's gory, spooky, horror, but then it kind of goes a bit, it's not as horror, and it goes a bit more gentle. But it's about a Maud. So there was a murder at the start of this. There's a murder. It's in Edwardian Suffolk. A manor house stands alone in the corner of the fens, a glittering wilderness in the winter whose whispering reeds guard ancient secrets. Maud is a lonely child growing up without her mother, ruled by a repressive father. Oh my God, I hate the father. I cannot friggin' stand him. He drives me around the bend. I want to smack him. I absolutely hate him. Maud, I'm like, come on, like, stand up for yourself. But she's kind of got this evil glint, which I like. I really liked it. It's 4 stars. I didn't like it as much as I liked another book that I read this month that's horror. But it's good. And it's about demons and witchcraft, and it's got some really good things. And it's one I'm glad I read. But boy, did I have to read it during the day. I think my sister Charlie's getting that, so that's all on my pile for her. I really enjoyed it. So that's definitely one I recommend. Now, my other non-fiction book was Queen Victoria's Matchmaking. Really enjoyed this. Chris bought this for me as my present for looking after the children. Royal Marriages That Shaped Europe, and this is really interesting. I found out so much more about Queen Victoria, about her family, and about how she did, and I thoroughly loved it. I thought it was really, really good, and it's got pictures in the middle, and it's one that's I managed to find another one of her books in the charity shop, this Deborah Cadbury's books, and I've got it because I'm keeping this. This is really good. It's really good. Yes, it's 4 stars, but for a non-fiction, it was a good non-fiction. It's my second non-fiction, and I'm really glad I read it. Did love it, so that's a keepy. Now, the next one was, I was supposed to be ordering it with Flint, but he's got a busy life, so I totally understand. And that's the last in the main Lunar Chronicles book. I've got one more that I'm reading in December, which is Stars Valve, which is one of the novellas. Although I don't know how it's counted a novella, because it's still 350 pages. But this is centred around winter, but it ties up all of the other storylines. It's a massive book. It's over 800 pages. So it did really you really had to put yourself into it. And I think reading it 50 pages a day-ish was the best way of doing it, because if I tried to read it in one go, it would have killed me. It's not as good as Cress. I can't tell you much about it because obviously it follows on from those other books. But I didn't like it as much as Cress, but I did like it, and I loved the ending. But I kind of wanted a bit more. It's 4 stars. It wasn't as good as Cress, but it was really good. I keep saying that again and again. Charlie, you're having that back. The next one was a book that it's 4 stars, but it's a disappointing 4 because I expected more. This is the last in the trilogy from Lisa Evans. Again, because it's last, I can't tell you too much about it. But it's about, we start off in the first book was Old Baggage, then we went to Crooked Heart, and then this is it. And this one centres around Noel again and his foster mother. But we've also got another character that linked apparently into the first book, Winnie. And it's about, you go talk about some of the things she saw in the bombings and things like that. There are no chapter breaks in this book, which is another reason why I dropped it a star, because I like chapter breaks. I like to break books up, and I found that hard. It is good, and it's one I'm going to keep because I think it might be better when I reread it. But it's not as good as Crooked Heart or as good as Old Baggage. Old Baggage was like my favourite book last year. One of my favourite books last year. This isn't as good. So I'm kind of gutted I spent all the money and buy it hardback. That was me, and that's one of my impulsive buys at first lockdown. But it was good, and I'm glad I read it. Now the next one is 4.5 stars because it only got half a star because typical Kate Morton, there is loads and loads in it. And again, there was bits in the middle that I didn't kind of feel needed to be there. But this is one of my best Kate Morton. You know, I didn't like the Clockbreaker's Daughter as much. I love this one. So we've got, again, 2 timelines. We've got 2 or 3 timelines, kind of. Yeah, we've got 3. So we've got the 1930s, the 1960s, and the present. And they all blend in so well. Kate Morton is exceptional on mixing her historical fiction with mystery. And I loved it. So it's set in the first bit's set in the Suffolk farm. It's mainly sort of set around a Suffolk farm. 16-year-old Laurel hides away in her childhood home. That was in the 60s. So we start off in the 60s. And she sees an event that happens. And in the present day, she wants to find out what happened that day. What changed her mother. And I loved it. And there was a bit at the end, the twist at the end that I didn't expect. I'm giving this to the lovely Gemma because she is going to love this. And it's one I want to share with her because she will love it. It's brilliant historical fiction. Like I said, it only got 4.5 stars because I'm being a nitpick, but I loved it. It was a really, really good book. So that's my first of my Gemma books. Now, The Ice Cream Girls. It's my first of my 5-star books. Like I said, I've had a good month so far. I'm hoping the second half is going to be as good as this. This is my first Dorothy Kimson thriller because I know she's gone into thriller now. She was in Chick Lit and she does not disappoint. This is what... I don't keep my thrillers because obviously I know the twists. This is flipping brilliant. 5 stars all the way, and it is one that I'm so glad I read. Serena and Poppy were teenagers when they were branded the Ice Cream Girls. When they were accused of murder, one of them was sent to prison while the other was set free. Now, 20 years later, one is doing all she can to clear her name, and the other is frantically trying to keep her secrets. This does have trigger for child abuse, for quite a lot of serious things like manipulation, how a gentleman can appear like he's a good guy, and it's a lot about abuse, and really big time, and about ghosting, and about loads of different things. It's about how he manipulates her and makes her think that grooming is a big part of this book. And it's about the characters and how two girls, their lives could have gone one direction, but one of them got found guilty, the other didn't. Friggin' brilliant. I definitely want to read the sequel to this. I cannot wait to read the sequel. It's so good. But it's charity shop because I don't keep my thrillers. Where did I put my charity shop books? There you go. Next one, The Silent Companion, which I bloody read with Gemma from Read a Book Gem. This was horror. This is freaky friggin' horror. It is so scary, but it was addictively scary. Like, I couldn't wait to read the next page. I couldn't wait to read the next day. It has two timelines, one in the 1600s and one in the 1800s. And you also have the hospital where basically a lady gets sent to a newlywed, married, newly widowed Elsie gets sees out her pregnancy in the late husband's crumbling cottage, the bridge, with new servants resentful and local villagers actively hostile. Elsie only has her husband's awake, awkward cousin for company, or so she thinks. And then you've got the wooden silent companions, which are so friggin' scary. They could give me nightmares for weeks. This is really petrifying and scary, but it's so good. And it's made me want to read all of Laura Purcell's work. It is that friggin' good. You find out at the start some people have been killed. And you want to find out why. You want to find out if she's guilty or if she's not. And it's got mystery as well as horror and historical fiction. And it's gelled together so well. It's 5 stars all the way. I friggin' loved it. But it is going because it was that scary. Now, I've got... Actually, I will show you that one in a minute. The next 5-star book was Postscript. I was given this by the lovely Amy of PS I Love Books and Things. She doesn't make videos anymore, but she's still on Instagram and she's brilliant. I love Amy. She sent this to me as a gift because I nearly bought it full price, nearly pre-ordered it, and then people have had mixed reviews on it because it's the sequel to PS I Love You. And I've had good things and bad things, so I didn't want to buy it full price. So I didn't. So when Amy offered to send it to me, I was like, yes, please. Oh my goodness, it is absolutely amazing. It's actually going to be a keepy, which for me, a hard book being a keepy and a chicklet being a keepy. I want, if anyone's got a copy of PS I Love You that they don't want, please send it to me because I want my own copy now. I want to read them both because they're so good and they're so amazingly chicklet. And this reminded me why I love Cecilia Hand's work, because she mixes chicklet with a bit of magic in it and a bit of sweetness and a love and grief and lessons to be learned and friendship and siblings. She mixes it all together so well and I friggin' love this. I can't tell you too much about it because it is the sequel to PS I Love You. Read that, read this. If you like PS I Love You, you'll love this. It's as good, if not better. But the only reason it's not my favourite book of the month is because I have 2 favourites. So I have a favourite non-fiction because it's non-fiction November, and I have a favourite fiction so far. So my favourite non-fiction is this. You will find out more about this on, I did the 24-hour reading challenge and I vlogged it, and I talk about this a bit more. There are triggers for sexual abuse, for abuse. There are triggers for grooming again. It talks about gender fluidity. It talks about fostering in such an amazing way. It reminds me why I love fostering. I asked my mum quite a lot of questions because as a family we did foster. And I asked my mum some questions because we fostered younger children, whereas Stevie is like 14, 15 in this book. And they are described very well. And it's very much about pronouns, identity. It's really, really good. But there are some big time triggers, so be warned that going in. I love Kathy Glass' books on fostering. She describes it so well and I can't wait to read her other books. Becca's from Becca's Bookshelves loves her work, and I'm reminded why I'm going to go and search for every single one of them if I can, because I want them, because I think they're good. But I won't keep it because I want other people to read it. Now another one, this was a recommendation again from Amy from Books and Things, from PS I Love You Books and Things. This was really good. So Lucky by Dawn Porter. This is about 3 very different women, and this is my favourite fiction book. Very different women showing images about, it's how we portray. They are showing their perfect lives to everyone, but they're not perfect. They're different and they're hiding it. And it's about showing the image we've got. Again, I talk about this a lot more in my vlog, which will be coming up in a week or 2. But I think something I've always tried to be real on here. I always try and show you the honest me. Possibly sometimes too much, but I don't think we should all just show the good, bad. Life is good, bad and ugly. It's about everything. And it's about friendship, this book, and it's about being true to ourselves, lessons, solidarity, sticking together, being true to yourself, and I loved it. Anyway guys, that's enough for now. What's been your favourite book of the month so far? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.